UFC 266 is absolutely loaded, featuring 2 title fights and the long-awaited return of one of the most beloved fighters in organizational history. At the top of the bill, Australian featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski puts his title on the line against Brian T-City Ortega. All Volkanovski has done since debuting in the UFC less than 5 years ago is go 9-0 while running through longtime champ Jose Aldo, then defeating one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, Max Holloway, twice. For Ortega, this will be his second shot at UFC gold. After suffering his first ever MMA defeat, he went back in the lab and showed off a new and improved version of himself against the Korean Zombie. There's nobody the jiu-jitsu ace can't submit on the ground, but will he be able to get it there, and has his striking improved enough to hang with Volkanovski? In the co-main event, flyweight queen Valentina Shevchenko will look for a 6th straight successful title defense as a massive favorite versus Lauren Murphy, who is getting her first shot at the belt. But perhaps the most anticipated fight of the night will be the return of Nick Diaz in a rematch from 2004 when he knocked out former welterweight champion Robbie Lawler. What will Diaz look like after a nearly 7-year hiatus from the octagon? Nobody is quite sure, but when the pride of Stockton steps in the octagon, the roar of the crowd is certain to be epic. Who will steal the spotlight at UFC 266? We're in for a riveting night in Vegas.
This is shaping up to be a really fun card for UFC 266, the main event and 2 co-main quality fights listed here. Of course, you got the 2 title fights, but the return of Nick Diaz, who was part of Morning Combat's latest resume review. And those who know about the resume review, you know what's up. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, go to the MK YouTube page, find the Nick Diaz resume review, check the comments. That's all I'll say about that. Let's welcome in MK co-host Brian Campbell. We'll get to the long-awaited return of 209's finest. But first, it is Volkanovski and Ortega, the coaches, and the most recent, The Ultimate Fighter. What are you looking out for in this one?
This is such a great fight on paper, Tommy. Maybe it's being overlooked to some degree because of Nick Diaz's return, and maybe because there's a lot of people that still look at Max Holloway, the former champion, as still the uncrowned one because of how close his rematch was with Volkanovski. But when I look at this is we all know what the champion Volkanovski is. He's an elite chess player, a thinker, a guy who sets traps, a guy who Ortega calls a point fighter. Yet the results are there. He is hard to figure out. He makes great adaptations. What he's going up against is a Brian Ortega who I think is still figuring out how great he can be. And that's why you see the odds so close in this one. Ortega made massive leaps against Max Holloway in his title loss 3 years ago by showing an aggressiveness and a chin that we haven't seen from him before. Then in his comeback fight 2 years later from injury against the Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jung, Tommy, he showed a next level IQ from the standpoint of distance and striking and pure craft. Ortega's close on the odds right now because we're looking to see, can he make an additional leap at the highest level now against Volkanovski? And if you follow this promotion close enough, the bad blood between them and the trash talk's starting to increase from their Ultimate Fighter journey opposite one another. This is a great fight heading into Saturday.
T-City plus 155 at Caesars Sportsbook for that featherweight title Saturday night. No disrespect to Shevchenko and Murphy, but we do have to talk about Nick Diaz. Also, the weight change request to 185 granted by Lawler. Big deal, little deal, no deal. Your overall thoughts on this fight?
I can't make it too much of a big deal because, look, this is Nick Diaz coming back from a 6-year absence. This is like, Van Halen getting back together, or the Grateful Dead, or Guns N' Roses. We're here to just watch the fun, the nostalgia of a fight, a rematch, 17 years in the making. I'm not going to penalize either one, or specifically Nick in this case, for wanting to not have to go through the crazy fight week drain and cut down just to make this fight. At the end of the day, this is about seeing 2 warriors, 2 legends go back in there. I know Nick Diaz's interviews have been all over the place this week. He believes he's going to get a title shot if he gets a victory. I think it's hard to look at this as anything more, like I mentioned, than 2 great ones coming back. But to act like this isn't the quote-unquote people's main event entering into Saturday would be crazy. People love the anti-hero Nick Diaz, and they love the journeys of the Stockton bros. To see him back against a Robbie Lawler who may be on a 4-fight losing streak, but the former champion can still bang. I think you got to expect action in this one, Tommy, and we may have cursed on Morning Combat Nick Diaz by putting him up in that resume review because it's 6-0 that whoever gets reviewed tends to lose in their big fights. But Tommy, you've seen Gremlins. We just put the Mogwais out there. It's up to you if you want to feed them after midnight.
Hey,
how old is that reference?
There's
please?
no rhyme or reason. Love that and the Van Halen reference, by the way. But that interview, though, has some people think, yeah, he's very candid. I love it. Other camps saying, I don't know if he should be fighting this weekend, plus that shadow boxing also raising some questions. Before I let you go quickly here, Anthony Joshua, Saturday night, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium there, Alexander Usyk. What do we think?
Look, this is a great fight. We basically have a final four right now of the big heavyweights, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder in 2 weeks in their trilogy bout to figure out the undisputed king. The odds will tell you that AJ is more well-rounded, bigger, tougher, stronger, maybe faster. But if you don't know about Alexander Usyk, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion, you're going to find out on Saturday. This guy is the Swiss Army knife of the heavyweight division. He's only had 2 fights in the division, and one of them maybe showed you a couple vulnerabilities. But here's the deal. At 6'3" in the southpaw, he can do things that heavyweights can. His footwork is incredible. He comes from the Lomachenko camp in Ukraine. He is a live dog heading into Saturday. Why? Because we've seen Joshua's chin issues. We've seen his gas tank issues carrying that big frame. Expect a wild scene there in Tottenham Stadium. And this is going to be an important fight to see who faces the winner of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder.
Speaking of wild, he wore like an outfit like the Joker that he had there in his press conference. Brian Campbell, I think he might have that in his closet too. Appreciate you, my friend. Coverage of UFC 266 on CBS Sports HQ. The guys at MK will have you covered. Luke Thomas and the BBC, Brian Campbell.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.